Hello and welcome back to the Chat Cave here on McGTV. That's youtube.com/Mike McGTV. Again, we're your hosts, Mike McG and
Max Andrews, how's it going?
yep. And this is a really impromptu kind of to the Chat Cave for today. And it's going to be a little bit shorter because we just wanted to touch upon, well, how can we not acknowledge kind of the big loss this week with regards to pop culture and music that was the man, the myth, the legend, His Royal Badness, the purple one, Prince.
Purple rain, purple rain.
And now we're flagged. Okay. But yeah, to kind of give him his due here on the Chat Cave, specifically since this is a Batman podcast, to kind of talk about his contribution to Batman specifically. Because we could talk about ad nauseum a bunch of other things, like of course Purple Rain, as Max mentioned before, any plethora of his albums. Just a lot of the bizarre stuff. His appearance on Muppets Tonight. The list goes on and on. But we figured for the Chat Cave, it's best just to focus on 1989 Tim Burton's Batman and its soundtrack. And first off, without getting into too much detail, of course, Max, what's your kind of history with Prince?
Prince, I've never been like that big of a fan. I mean, obviously his pop songs, you can't escape them. So, I'm familiar with him, but I've never been like a crazy zealous Prince fan. I've never seen Purple Rain or When Doves Cry, or yeah, Purple Rain. That's the
Purple
movie, right?
Rain, yeah.
Yeah. See, so that obviously you can tell how big of a Prince fan I am, but I can appreciate an artist who is influential in the way that Prince was without being a sideshow. I really like that you don't if Prince isn't putting out an album or a movie, you don't hear about him. That was my favorite thing with Prince is just he seems like a really just a regular guy, like to do his own thing. And yeah, so I mean, yeah, not a huge fan, but I could definitely appreciate Prince.
I like what you mentioned there is that fact that he was eccentric, sure, and you've heard about stories about him either from people telling tales like Kevin Smith or even like Chappelle's Show with Charlie Murphy's story about him. But despite eccentricities, that very much he was just going about his business and did what he enjoyed, which was making music and entertaining people. And I like what you mentioned, the fact that he wasn't really so much in the headlines unless it was about his craft.
Right.
And very much so, today's topic touches upon his craft in a big way because aside from having a Danny Elfman deliver a pretty awesome score for the first theatrical Batman we'd had since the Dozier days, since the 66 show, it also had a lot of songs, some made especially for the movie by Prince. And I don't know, what are kind of your initial maybe thoughts to the Prince contributions of the 89 Batman soundtrack?
My first thought is hubba hubba hubba, money money money, who do you trust?
So you go to trust as the go-to, yeah.
No, what I really liked about Prince on Prince's tracks on this movie was that it was a real separation from, because you have Tim Burton's dark, gothic Gotham, and like Batman's in the full black suit, and like you have Danny Elfman's like sweeping orchestral score, but then you have this like really 80s poppy Prince music,
That comes in from time to time, yeah.
yeah, and it's always like it's mostly with the Joker that they play the Prince music, and I really like that because it's like he was bringing in this new different thing that Gotham had never really experienced before, and they were using the Prince music to kind of accentuate that because it's very just like a it's just very different from everything else in Gotham, and so I really like that. Some of the songs are like straight 80s style, so you can't hold that against them.
Right.
But no, I really liked it just to show the dichotomy. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
Yeah, the dichotomy of the Joker and Batman and the Joker in Gotham.
especially with tracks like you mentioned, Trust, which is, I found that, yeah, the fact that a lot of the Prince selections take place during more exaggerated or Joker heavy scenes, like with Trust, it's for the parade with the balloons.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get to, I want to talk a little bit about this song a little bit later, but Party Man, which is where he goes into the museum and starts realizing stuff, like, yeah, that goes with the flamboyant, like, cheese factor for that movie in a way. But at the same time, we never actually had something like that taking place in a superhero movie before. Like with the Superman movies with Christopher Reeve, they never actually were like, hey, let's incorporate more of a rock score into this,
Yeah.
And you could say that, like, Prince, if anything, like, very much pioneered the idea of, yeah, these movies can have just as much cultural appeal in music as something like, say, The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston, or movies that have like a trademark tune assigned to them.
The Bodyguard came after, didn't
it came after. If anything, it pioneered it for even The Bodyguard, I guess. Well, I'm trying to think, like, where it doesn't have to be focused centrally on a musical story necessarily for the soundtrack to become just as big as the movie itself, because from there on out, you have stuff like The Bodyguard, you have My Heart Will Go On and Titanic.
The Kiss from a Rose for Batman Forever.
Yep. Before Seal washed up onto the shore of Schumacher land, we had Prince.
So it definitely set the trend. With at least you bring in a good pop star or singer to do like the main track, and then they'll a lot of the time they'll make an orchestra or orchestral kind of score to that song too, so that it can play kind of in different ways. You can play it slow and dramatic or whatever, and like they started doing that a lot more too, I think.
Yeah, and in a way, it's like, it helped, like you said, make it a little bit different from what came before, because of the fact that, like, with stuff like Superman or Batman, it can delve into the very antiquated look of comics, or the antiquated, like, style, where it's all just like, oh, shucks, gee willigers. But the fact that they were like, no, let's put the 80s, he's big in the 80s, let's put an 80s spin on it. Let's put these songs in the movie. And the idea of, having some kind of headliner artist featured in your, like, I'm basically, good and bad, I blame Prince for Chad Kroeger's Hero for Spider-Man.
You cannot blame Prince for Chad Kroeger. That is all about the record labels, man. They did that to us.
So I came across just a little bit of some interesting kind of trivia to know too, is that originally it was going to be kind of dual effort. Like, Prince was actually going to be only handling the funkier type tunes, or the more energetic tunes, and then Michael Jackson would actually be in charge of, like, the slower, like, love ballad type stuff that was to take place in the movie. But that obviously never came to be.
And Michael's kicking himself the whole time.
Well, Michael got Free Willy. He's okay.
That's true. He did get Free Willy.
So
love that whale.
So we had a couple of tracks on here, like we mentioned, Trust, Scandalous. I think the least successful one on here was The Future, and Party Man. Again, the one I want to come back to, Party Man, dude, because in this week or so, watch them before they get taken down off YouTube. I don't know. They might leave them up now, in memoriam. But the music video for Party Man, have you ever seen that?
No, I have actually not. I guess I got to go check it out.
Oh, it's kind of wonderful. It's that great, like, it's like 80s cheese. It's all the cool stuff about Prince mixed in with stuff you'd expect from, like, Smooth Criminal.
Okay.
Like, it's his Smooth Criminal, essentially, almost. Yeah. Like, it's him in a big party of people, and he's just there dancing, having a good time, playing the piano while lying down on it upside down. And it's not so much a Prince music video as it is a possible Two-Face music video. Because his makeup in it, while it's evoking the Joker very much so, you're like, that's a little Two-Face. Like, and And spoilers, the music video ends with apparently Prince murders this whole room of people.
I'm down for that.
You got to see it, man.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go try to check that out.
It's pretty awesome, and I wholly recommend it to everyone out there. But which would be the ultimate track off this soundtrack that you would recommend?
Yeah, it's got to be Trust for me. That one just does it for me. I just see the Joker throwing Jack Nicholson Joker just tossing money everywhere, and this is like one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Also, it's where he takes that gigantic gun out of his pants and shoots the Batwing down. Yeah, it's Trust. I'd say Party Man would be the my second, the close runner up, and all just because of Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, I'd have to say it is quite a bit.
Chewing the scenery and living the dream. But yeah, those two are my favorite for sure.
I'd have to say, yeah, I'd probably go with you on that. It'd probably be a reversal though. Party Man, then Trust, followed very swiftly by the Bat Dance. Because Bat Dance,
yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
as much as Tim Burton was like, well, this is a darker take on Batman that we're gonna go for. You have to kind of feel that between him and Prince with Bat Dance, they're like, let's make a little bit of fun about the 66 TV show.
Yep.
Because it's literally like, what, 5 or 6 minutes of just like funky, kind of industrial rock, techno beat almost. A couple of lines lifted from the movie. Like you hear Jack Nicholson kick it off with like, oh, I got a live one here. And then throughout it all, you hear Prince go, Batman! Batman! And I'm like, this is clearly making fun of the 66 show.
He was so drunk and stoned. They're like, we need one more song. He's like, oh God.
You got like the ADR available. I'm just gonna mess around with that. Oh man, but I figured it'd just be kind of a little cool thing to laugh about quick, share really fast, and yeah, we lost a pretty big icon today, not just for music, but also for Batman history and comic book film history, as it were, too.
Yep. Sadly, Prince went really early, and we're just gonna have to remember all the greatness he's given us, and move on from there. But he will be missed, and I guess this is the least we could do to commemorate an icon.
Yeah. Now, wouldn't it be cool, though, hypothetical, wouldn't it be cool, since it's from CinemaCon the past week or so, we've heard that Affleck is indeed helming the director's chair, and, they're going with his script for a standalone Batman.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be kind of cool to throw in a little Trust?
Oh, man. Oh, I would die. If they put Trust in a new Batman movie, that would be even... I would shut up about hockey sticks in Daredevil.
That's a tall order, sir.
I was saying, if that happened, I would be so content. Yeah.
Well, we can dream. Hopefully, Affleck is a big enough Prince fan that he has to be, man.
It's entirely possible, and especially nowadays with how much everybody likes to do throwbacks and stuff like that. I think it's a long shot, but you could see a Prince song squeaking its way in there.
Like,
I don't know about Trust.
It doesn't have to be gratuitous or anything like that. Like, you just have Jeremy Irons as Alfred, like, in his mechanics overalls working on the Batmobile. He's got a pair of headphones on because it's supposed to be taken, like, he's got, like, a Walkman or something like that. Because hopefully it'll be younger Batman, or, like, maybe 10 years before we saw him in BVS or something. And he's just, like, listening to a little Trust or a little Party Man or something. Lost away.
They can listen to the Bat Dance. That would be appropriate. Like, what if when Batman gets into the Batmobile, just Bat Dance starts blaring, like Alfred played a joke, or if they had a Robin played a joke on it.
Honestly, like, maybe that's how he cheers up a little bit. Like, that's his therapy.
Yeah, like before he goes out in the night, just listens to a little freaking Party Man, gets in the right mindset, and goes out there and whoops some ass.
Before I go out there and start cattle branding serial killers, let me put on a little Bat Dance.
He only stabs some of them. He doesn't cattle brand everybody.
So, oh man, I that would be just kind of cool. A little throwback there.
Yeah, I would dig it for sure.
But I guess, that's, I don't really have anything else aside from just that quick little bit of trivia and wanting to see what you thought of the soundtrack in and of itself. But
Yeah, no, I mean, I love it. That Batman movie holds a special place in my heart. I was a little kid when it came out, and it was one of the first like big movies that I'd ever actually seen. So yeah, the soundtrack, I got a love for it, as cheesy and '80s as it is. But yeah, it's good stuff. Like you just can't beat it.
mm-hmm. Oh, one last thing I did remember is the fact that this podcast thumbnail, actually, the image off of here, and maybe some people have posted it on their feeds. I posted the full cover of this image on my Facebook feed a couple of days ago. But this artwork is actually a cover for a Prince comic book that was released, I believe, around that time, like in the late '80s, early '90s. And this was done by artist Brian Bolland, who, as Batman people might know, as being the artist for a very influential Batman piece called The Killing Joke.
Oh, yeah.
So, in another way, it kind of comes full circle there. So, again, teasing that when The Killing Joke animated comes out, oh boy, baby, we're going to dive into that.
Full Prince soundtrack.
Yeah. I don't know if there'd be an appropriate time to have that. Shoots Barbara Gordon. Oh, I got a live one here. That's a little bad. Sorry, bad taste.
Oh,
Spoilers. Sorry.
No, it should be. I'm excited for that to come out. That should be good. I can't wait to see Killing Joke, and it would be made even better by a Prince soundtrack.
No, you never know. Or if anything, Mark Hamill's Joker, one of the liberties they took is that they just recite a couple of lyrics with Mark Hamill's Joker. He's like,
and Prince is so Prince is so secretive, man. He could have recorded an album for this, and they didn't tell anybody. That's entirely possible.
It's entirely possible. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next year or so, because apparently, according to rumors and some stories we've heard, he's got like vaults of like unreleased material.
Oh, I mean, if you listen to one of the Kevin Smith, like Evening with Kevin Smith or Eveninger or whatever, he talks about a documentary that he filmed for Prince for an album that Prince created. He did the whole thing, mastered it and all that good stuff. Let some people listen to it, filmed a whole documentary, and then Kevin Smith was like, "Oh man, I can't wait for the movie to come out. It's really good." Prince is like, "This isn't for people. This is for me."
Yeah.
Like, he's not gonna let anyone else listen to the album or watch the movie.
Yeah, like he's got fully produced music videos that he's never shown. They never showed anybody, or fully produced tracks that never hit airwaves. So it'd be interesting to see what comes out. Maybe there's some unreleased Batman stuff in there.
I'm hoping, man. Fingers crossed.
That'd be kind of cool. All right, but just thought we'd kind of share a little bit about His Royal Badness, and fare thee well, Prince, and thanks for all the great tunes and the great memories. You've been listening to the Chat Cave here on McG TV, again with Mike McG and Max Andrews. Max, you can find over at 3 Geeks Podcast at youtube.com/3 Geeks Network, or on Twitter at 3 Geeks Podcast. And hey, while you're at it, show some love to both the 3 Geeks and to McG TV by getting some McG TV or 3 Geeks swag from tpublic.com. The links are posted below for both stores. So check that stuff out.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait for my Chat Cave t-shirt to come in the mail.
Oh, cool. I got to order one of those actually, too. I've designed the damn thing. I haven't even ordered one for myself yet.
It's okay. At least one of us has got one coming.
Yeah. It'll be well represented somewhere. All right. Well, thanks so much, Max, for this impromptu kind of get together.
Thank you for having me.
All right. See y'all later on To the Chat Cave.
Old chum.
Old buddy.